preserving the songs of freedom and their secret messages in New York's African-American community.
This music is too important, and nobody else should claim the rights to this authentic American music.
Old world craftsmanship surviving another generation thanks to a committed father-daughter team on Long Island.
I'm proud to let that tradition go on.
As the war in Ukraine threatens their heritage, these transplants to Connecticut savor a special reminder of their homeland.
It brings great memories from your childhood, from your family, when you used to be together all at the big table.
How hand gestures, facial expressions, and even posture keep a colorful and ancient dance tradition alive in New Jersey. Welcome to Preserving the Past. I'm Aisha McKenzie. We're at a site more than 12 million immigrants saw when starting their new lives here in America. As they sailed across Upper New York Bay beginning in the late 1800s, they viewed this great symbol of freedom, the Statue of Liberty. At her feet, you can see broken shackles that symbolize the abolition of slavery. But for those who came here chained and bound, it was not the same experience. So we begin in Harlem, known as a mecca for Black culture. News 12's Phil Tate visits the Mama Foundation for the Arts, where there is a joyous sound treasuring sacred Negro spirituals that tell the journey to freedom.
Too important, and nobody else should claim the rights to this authentic American music in fear that some other culture will say they created it when we know it was really created in the African American experience.
Vi Higginson, musical pioneer, preserving history through song. Teaching the teens of the Mama Foundation for the Arts. They don't sing songs you'd hear on the radio, rather songs birthed from slavery.
It's a story, it's our story of a people in song. So if the next generation has no idea about where they come from, okay, it's fine to sing contemporary music, pop, rap, hip hop, all of that, that's all good. But what did your ancestors sing?
We are not afraid. Signal songs, camp meeting songs, and songs of praise that poured into the soundtrack from slavery to the fight for civil rights.
This is music of communications. This is music of code. This is code music. This is how we survive. This is how we escaped from slavery.
And Vi is right. These songs created in the struggle that are still sung by the teens here today, from Go Down Moses to Follow the Drinking Gourd, are lyrics filled with instruction. You may have heard of the song Wade in the Water. Well, those lyrics reminded slaves to get off the trails and into the water. Slave masters used dogs as a way to find escaped slaves, and the water helped to hide their scent.
And when you think even how painful it may be that to read and write was punishable by death. Huh? And the only right that we had was the right to sing. So it only goes to show you the genius of our ancestors.
When did you realize this music was in jeopardy?
Oh, I'll tell you when. When we were auditioning for Mama, I Want to Sing.
Mama, I want to sing.
Mama, I Want to Sing, the longest-running Black off-Broadway musical in American history that hit the stage back in 1983.
Young people were coming in here to audition to be in the show, and I say, okay, sing a traditional song, and they couldn't. They didn't know Precious Lord. They didn't know Amazing Grace. They didn't even know This Little Light of Mine. There's things that they just didn't know.
A disturbed Vi returned to the block she was born on and where her career got started.
This is where it all began, and it only seemed fitting to come back to give back.
She turned her family's 100-year-old brownstone into a place of learning, opening her doors to the community over a decade ago.
I'm on a mission to make sure that we pass this music on from generation to generation to generation, so the music never dies.
Watch me, this is it.
Higginson's daughter Noelle is making sure that happens, teaching Negro spirituals that produced gospel, blues, R&B, and jazz. How do you make sure that they walk away with just not the lyric or the right note, but that they walk away knowing the significance?
Subtext matters. The understanding of the lyrics matter. The lyrics are positive. African American gospel music lyrics are about God, which amplifies joy. God is joy. God is love. God is peace. And somehow, when you continue to sing that, it becomes muscle memory.
And these students can't get enough. Moses Matos, who's front and center, travels by train each week from Spring Creek, Brooklyn to Harlem.
The Mom Foundation is touching and an amazing experience because not only has taught me music, but it has taught me to read and write. I learn vocal lessons every single time when I'm with them.
And at just 13 years old, these songs bring a new meaning for the young teen.
All these artists, they sing about women, all these things. But the most important thing is to sing about your generation.
Amazing Grace was written by a man who owned slaves and who came to the realization that this was wrong. That as bad as he was able to save him. So no matter how low you can go, the lyrics can let's pick you up to say that there's a better place in your mind and in your heart and in your soul.
And these songs have given her a new purpose, not only to exist, but to live.
We survived all those years of pain and hurt and slavery.
Do you think that this place is always a home for all the students who walk through these doors?
I love this. We say once you're in the program, this becomes your musical home for life.
I know that you sure changed my life.
You're one of them. You come back and you give back. And that's what this program is about.
I've just brought something for you to see.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And I simply say thank you.
Look at this. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this. Oh my God.
I just want to hug you.
I want to hug you.
Let me hug you real quick.
Oh, God bless you. Oh, you found your way.
I found my way.
You found your way.
When you look at that picture, what do you see?
A motivation for me to keep on keeping on and keep on keeping on. That the work that we do here is meaningful, and you're an example of that. Look at you.
You get emotional thinking about that.
Yeah, I get emotional thinking about it. I do. When I see the result of hard work, and there's no substitute for hard work.
And you're making the change.
Thank you.
And
so are you. And so are you.
You are the voice of the future. You are the leaders of America. It's on you to pass this music on.
Powerful songs changing lives from generation to generation. In Harlem, Phil Tate, News 12.
Coming up in a moment, it's a labor of love for a pizza maker in Mineola who works to keep his craft both traditional and fresh.
It's really important for me that we don't forget where we came from and how we got here.
And the war in Ukraine creating a special cultural challenge for expatriates living in Connecticut.
It's super important to preserve our traditions, our recipes.
I'm from China, and the most precious passed down to me is honesty. Integrity.
I'm from Florida. My family's from Puerto Rico, and they passed down the tradition of Three Kings Day. I think it was the 7th of January, they would put like hay in my room to make it look like the camels came in, and it was fun.
From News 12, I'm Michael King. News 12.
On Liberty Island, this amazing symbol of immigration has stood since 1886, when great numbers of native Italians passed this way on their journey to the United States over several decades. It was coined the Great Arrival. Today, at least 700,000 Italian Americans live on Long Island, and many have helped shape American culture since that arrival. News 12's Antoinette Biordi introduces us to two people whose unique skills, imported from Italy, are a cut above.
Contributions of Italian Americans here on Long Island can be found just about everywhere, even in fashion and style. And that brings us here to Montella Custom Bespoke Tailor in Wading River. Sebastiano Montella works with his daughter, Michelina, to create one-of-a-kind tailored wardrobe pieces known as bespoke tailoring for their customers.
From that, when I was a kid, I loved this.
Sebastiano started stitching pieces of fabric together when he was just 9 years old. His parents sent him to school to become a tailor, and he eventually opened his own shop in Bisciano, Italy, near Naples.
The way we do the work, the suit, I'm a Neapolitan tailor.
In 1980, he immigrated to New York and realized the craftsmanship he had learned in Italy was truly unique, making him one of only a handful of Italian bespoke tailors on Long Island.
The way I do, I can guarantee nobody do.
His fabrics come from Italy. The meticulous work is done by him and his family by hand, made specifically to a person's build and size.
We do lapel on a jacket. It's 700 stitches on one lapel. The front we do by hand. It's 5 different stitches on top of the other.
His passion for quality clothing and stitching, the way it's been done in Italy for more than 500 years, now being passed down to his daughter, Michelina.
I started learning this apprenticeship under Dad when I was about 10 years old. And I was learning, not even knowing I was learning.
Michelina admits being a bespoke tailor is a dying trade, and it's also up to her to keep it going.
I'm proud to let that tradition go on.
From one cut to another. Domenico Tolomeo offers a similar slice of life at Taglio Pizzeria in Mineola.
Does anyone know where pizza was invented? Raise your hand.
Domenico doesn't just own taglio, meaning slice or cut in Italian. He's a first-generation Italian-American who comes from a long line of master bread makers from Italy's southern region.
It's really important for me that we don't forget where we came from and how we got here.
He started studying the art of pizza making and eventually became World Pizza Champion in 2019. And now, once a month, Domenico offers people the chance to learn how to make authentic pizza.
So you're going to start from the middle, and we want to push all the air into the crust like that.
He says even though it is pricier, he prefers to use imported ingredients like 00 flour and tomatoes from Naples. Pizza makers themselves, like Domenico, are now referred to as pizzaiolos, an occupation no longer considered a blue-collar job.
In Europe, we're considered artists now because of the love and the care that we put into the product.
And whether you're Italian or not, the simple act of making pizza can bring generations of people together. Angela Vigliotti of Glen Cove brought her mother and daughter with her to the class.
I think between my mom and my daughter, it just felt whole, like a pizza.
Domenico says he has a huge amount of pride for his Italian heritage, and he hopes to keep that going with these classes.
Now more than ever, it's very important for us to try to keep whatever traditions we can alive and going and pass it on to each generation.
Making sure that with each cut, a slice of Italian culture is preserved for generations to come. Antoinette Biordi, News 12.
Our next story is about war, food, and friendship. It shows the bond between two Ukrainian-American women living in Connecticut who are sharing the secrets to making their native dish borscht. Ukrainian borscht, by the way, was recently added to the United Nations list of endangered heritage. That's because of the ongoing war waged by Russia. News 12's Shosh Bedrosian reports from Stamford.
It's probably one of those battles that we also have to fight, and it's super important to preserve our traditions, our recipes.
For friends Tetiana Korkorska and Irina Dragan,
Right now, so many people are migrating from one area to the other area.
Preserving their national dish and reclaiming its roots, they say, are priority.
We add a little bit of sugar just to bring out the flavor of tomatoes.
But sometimes even the best bowl of borscht,
there's no beets in there yet,
comes with a side of friendship. With cooking, the process can be tedious.
Saute onions take a while.
But together,
we kind of like support each other. We have each other's back and we kind of feel the same, either pain, either happiness.
Bring each other.
That's what unites us too.
Back to their roots.
Food makes you feel like you're home.
Their native home, Ukraine, is under attack physically and culturally.
A lot of Russians say that borscht was them, but it's not. It was in Ukraine and it actually was coming from the Cossacks. Borscht has 5 main ingredients, which is beets, carrots, onion, potato, and cabbage.
This velvety, luscious, and hearty cuisine can even transport you back to happier days.
It brings great memories from your childhood, from your family, when you used to be together all at the big table.
Soothing to the touch. And once they feed you, they'll be quick to tell you
that's so good
what it's not.
Borscht cannot be soup and it cannot be onion soup. Borscht is borscht.
It's the pure pride and joy both Tetiana and Irina create together.
Here's pampushka,
honoring their culture from thousands of miles away.
But I have faith. I think people will make sure that we keep our traditions, that we teach our children these traditions.
For Ukrainians, maybe the best recipe is the strength to keep their traditions alive.
In the meantime, we have to keep working very hard to make sure that we are safeguarding them.
In Stamford, Connecticut,
we haven't tried that, so I don't know.
Shosh Bedrosian.
This is good.
News 12.
After the break, how this colorful South Asian classical dance gets transplanted to the Indian American community in New Jersey.
My family's from Philippines as well, and then what they did passed to me is being hospitable, hospitality in the Philippines.
My family's from Louisiana, and they passed down to me the art of gardening and just really being in touch with the land.
Welcome back to Preserving the Past. To watch this program again or learn more about these stories, scan the QR code on the screen with your cell phone. Migration to the United States continues to this very day, although no longer through Ellis Island, where I am now. Since the 1970s, many natives of India have relocated here. So we head to Edison, New Jersey, where one of India's oldest art forms is being passed down to a new generation. News 12's Saima Chowdhury visits a Hindu mandir that teaches the moves of Indian classical dance.
I am very passionate about dancing. All teachers try to give it to the next generations and try to keep the dance forms alive.
It's so easy to be American, and you get to do the American culture. But the things that make your family different and unique would be holding on to things that have been passed down for generation from generation to generation.
It's really helping me connect with my own culture and my own religion, because when you think about it, something that happened so long ago, how can that have survived now? And I think it's beautiful the way that it survived and evolved.
When I see her doing the dance, it makes me proud that she's really interested and she's really into the dancing part of it, and she takes it really into the heart when she's learning the dance.
Do you kind of learn a little bit while she's doing it?
We do, but then she makes fun of me.
As all kids do, right? Mom's not cool enough to do this.
Yes.
I have never tried this style of dance before, but they gave me the proper outfit, bangles, and a bindi. So let's go.
Guru, Brahma.
When I grew up, I knew what would be considered Bollywood dance and Bhangra. Those are the things that I grew up with. So Bharatanatyam is something that I always thought was really fascinating, but I was never a part of it. I never did that. I never took a lesson in my life.
Bharatanatyam has elegant costumes, speak about the traditions, body posture, the poses, the facial expressions, the expressions, the movements, the delicacy. Centuries ago, Bharatanatyam was performed only by a group of women called Devdasis in front of the gods only.
These stories that we show in these dances are from our religion. So it's important in both aspects, knowing the stories and knowing how to express them.
Where do you want to see Indian Americans and their culture from generations to generations in the future?
I mean, I'm not American, I was born in India, but as the first generation for our kids, continue to pass on the traditions that we have and the meaning behind why we do certain traditions.
There's a lot of history on Ellis and Liberty Islands to take in, so they are very much worth visiting. Thanks for joining us on this trip, looking at some of the cultures that make up the beautiful mosaic of the tri-state area. From Ellis Island, I'm Aisha McKenzie, and thanks for watching.